a channeled message about the current energetic cycle that we are headed into. So you're going to want to save this post to come back to it later, as is also an activation. We are in Aquarius season. I'm an Aquarius, so it's my favorite time. We have the full moon that's coming up on February the 12th, and it's in Leo. It is the snow moon, and we are headed into Pisces season on February the 18th. So even if you're hearing this in the future, it will still be relevant to the season we're headed into. This message is going to be a soul retrieval that I did with your energetic body and your higher self. If you would like to learn how to do them for your own purposes or for others, whether it's family members, friends, or clients, I do have a masterclass in my bio that you can download or in the comments. And let's get into your reading. When I went to your energy field, I saw a orange construction cone and the message there was, stop, let's take a pause and reflect upon something. On this journey, there's your higher self who's relaying all the messages, you who's receiving the messages, and then me here to interpret. So we're all standing there with one another, and your higher self looked at us and said, y'all need to put your hard hats on, like construction wear. Goggles too. They said, so we put those on, and you said to your higher self, am I gonna get booped on the head, like something gonna fall on me? And your higher self said, yeah, with all this knowledge. And they said, come on with me, we're going to the mountain terrains. So usually when mountains come up, it's about to be an arduous journey. We're gonna be learning about something within shadow work lands. We're walking up this mountainside, and we were both kind of struggling a little bit, and so your higher self handed us walking sticks and said, everyone needs assistance. That's indicative of maybe us having a little bit of hypervigilance and hyper-independence wounds, where it's not a super prevalent trauma that we're currently working on. Is one that you have kind of cleared out on a massive scale, but there's remnants of that every now and again of, I can just do it myself. Where your higher self is like, hey, life can run a lot smoother if you allow yourself to give yourself support, because the other persons that are outside reflectors of you are just you. At the end of the day, all coming from the same energy. Allow yourself to support yourself via other people that do have your best interest at heart and love and support and honor you. As we're all walking, there's all these trees around us, and we look up and this little baby bird fell out of the nest. They were okay. They were on the ground, and you tried to rush over to go pick it up, and your higher self said, leave him there. They said, sometimes it is not our job to step on other people's paths, or in this case a bird, but the bird is representative of people. So sometimes it's not our job to step on other people's paths. You have a tendency to have a knee-jerk reaction to jump in to save another. And you looked at your higher self and said, well, what's going to happen to them? Higher self said, be patient, wait, and watch. This is when we noticed that the little bird, he was a little discombobulated, but he got up and started walking into this bush that was on the ground. And when we took a look, bunch of other little baby birds up underneath there. So he just went right into the little, whatever you call a group of birds. It's not a herd, but a bird herd. And he was okay. Higher self said it was his time to fly and be out on his own, out of the nest. You sometimes automatically assume that other people cannot do something on their own, where we need to take a step back and watch, and we'll see that actually they're quite capable. This is a little bit of a dichotomy, because the first message was, hey, you need to be allowing other people to support you because of hyper independence, but because of the things that you have experienced in life, when somebody else seems like they are hurting or suffering or need guidance or mentorship, healing, whatever that is, you were one of the first persons to be like, ooh, me, I can do that for you. Where some people need to learn how to stand on their own 2 feet so that they can equip themselves with the tools that they need to navigate life. This is a matter of assessing, does this person actually need my support, or would it be more beneficial for them to figure out whatever they got going on so they will be more successful in the future with their endeavors. Higher self said, let's keep walking on our journey. We're going, and then you looked at them and said, is that why I put my hard hat on? so the baby bird wouldn't fall on my head. And they said, no, but that's an astute observation. As we're walking, it started getting dark outside, and we made a campfire, and then it was nighttime. And as we're sitting around on these logs with one another, you were eating this can of beans. And I said, what are you doing? And I needed to double check because I had a slight assumption that you were eating a can of beans because of some type of lack mentality. Because I'm like, you could literally be eating anything you could possibly desire. We are in the ethers. There are no limitations. Why did you pick a can of beans? And when I said that to you, your response was, well, this is what you do at a campfire. I want the full experience. And I said, okay. I totally get that. Then your higher self looked at you and said, do you know about ghosts? You said, yeah, of course I know about ghosts. They said, well, what about the ghosts of Christmas past? And you said, like Scrooge from that story? Higher self said, yes, just like that. And I wanted to pull up this picture. This is Scrooge McDuck. This is the cartoon version, but there's also like a live action movie as well, and it's a book. You said, well, what does that have to do with me? And you know when somebody is asking a rhetorical question and it's about you and they're trying to get you to be mindful or for you to interpret it that way. So when you said, well, what does that have to do with me? You went, me? Is that who you're talking about? The higher self said, yup. And they were saying that you have been a little bit of a Scrooge recently. And when they said that, what you said in return was, you know what? I could be basking in more gratefulness of where I am today. It's very easy to get sucked into other people's energetic vortexes. And higher self said, well, why do you think that is? You said, because I'm resonating with that frequency. You know, once you start kind of complaining or being drama or talking about things going on in the world or what people got going on in their personal lives, you just kind of orbit into what they got going on, and now you're doing the same exact thing. Higher self said, reality is always presenting us with a choice. We can either stay up here or we can shift down here. Do you want to stay in a paradigm where you have a lot of things to complain about? Because you're the conscious creator, and if you're communicating that out into the world, is going to get reflected back to you. Higher self said, you have the ability to manually shift, like you're changing gears in your car. You have the ability to manually shift your experiences. Reality is a mirror, and you choose how you want to interact with it. It will match whatever you're putting out. I looked at your higher self and said, very wise words. And they said, I know. Your higher self is very funny. What has happened recently, and we all go through these phases of we are so grateful and feeling abundant and on cloud 9 and everything is going right and it's peaceful and calm, and then something kind of throws us off of our trajectory in our 3D experience. Then we start going down a very slippery slope, and like attracts like. And so if we are headed in these negative directions, we start getting more of that, and it starts snowballing, and then we're starting to have these experiences with people, our family, our animals, our job, and it's sometimes difficult to get ourselves up out of those paradigms. Higher self is saying, hey, this next season that we're going into, it's gonna be a great time to double down on what experience do I want to have. I've got to be the one who is sovereign and choosing my experience in every moment. So if somebody is coming into my orbit and doing a lot of the things that I don't prefer even to do myself, I need to be a little bit more mindful about interacting in that, staying up here and asking those persons to meet me up here, instead of doing the constructed, normal, societal thing to do of just getting in the thralls with people about things to either make them feel better or find commonalities. Or sometimes it does feel good to do those things. Even if you are a super self-aware being, we're humans. Your higher self is not saying, hey, we're out here having like wild behavior. This is when we're getting into very subtle energy, learning how to mitigate our fields and our mindset and the interactions that we're having with our reality. This is just a check-in reminder. This is your higher self saying, hey, I see that we're going back to some old patterns a little bit. Let's tighten that ship up. And then you're going to start having more positive experiences and magic and whimsy and joy and peace and calm and centeredness in your every experience in life if you're making those conscientious choices when you're having these kind of off interactions with people or your kids or family or whomever they might be. Take a breath before we decide to respond. Higher self said to you right now, who is someone that you look up to that is really positive and inspiring and uplifts others? Who first comes to mind? Higher self said, it needs to be yourself. If somebody else came up, but that's okay. They're saying that it's great to have people to look up to so that you can learn how to embody their energetics more of the time. And not everybody's not perfect, okay? Everybody has highs and lows, but there are persons that hold these templates, and it's from all the work that they've done on themselves. They have this homeostasis where they're just a joy and a delight and happy and positive and have an optimistic outlook on life and just really loving their experience here. So having role models like that is a beautiful way to remind ourselves, hey, this is a reality experience I can be living too, and see what they got going on so that we can pull more of that energy into our field so that we can embody it more fully into our lives as well. I would love to hear in the comments who that person was that came up in your mind when your higher self said that. Were there any specific synchronicities that really stuck out to you? The construction cone at the beginning of our journey, I don't know why I like this, it's more like this. The hard hat and the goggles, the baby bird, the can of beans that you were eating, or Scrooge, or more even specifically Scrooge McDuck. If you would like to learn how to do these soul retrievals for yourself, you can find that masterclass in my bio in the comments, and I'm wishing you a very magical day.